I am Sandeep B. Today I am going to teach you about parallelogram law of forces. Parallelogram law of forces states that if two forces acting simultaneously on a particle be represented in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the resultant may be represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of the parallelogram, which passes through their point of intersection. Mathematically, resultant force R is equal to root of p square plus q square plus 2pq cos theta, and tan alpha, the angle is equal to q sin theta plus P plus Q cos theta, where P and Q are the forces whose resultant is required to be found out. Theta, angle between forces P and Q, and alpha, angle which the resultant force makes with one of the forces. The here we have taken, it is making an angle with P. The resultant force is making an angle with P. If the angle alpha which the resultant force makes with the other force Q, for P we have taken as Q sin theta by P plus Q cos theta. If it makes with Q, then tan alpha is equal to P sin theta plus Q plus P cos theta. Now I am going to explain in detail how we get this formula. Resultant is equal to root of P plus P square plus Q square plus 2pq cos theta. Here, if two forces act at an angle theta between them, then the resultant arc can be obtained analytically from the geometry of the figure as follows. If x is the foot of the perpendicular from C on AB being produced, then resultant r square is equal to ax square plus cx square. Ax square is equal to ab plus bx whole square plus cx square. AB plus bx square is equal to ab square plus bx square plus 2ab by into bx plus c square. Here we have applied the formula a plus b square is equal to a square plus b square is equal to plus 2ab. But here we have to look into that bx square plus cx square is equal to bc square by the Pythagoras theorem from triangle BXC, and also BX is equal to BC cos theta. So by applying that to the formula, it becomes R square is equal to AB square plus BC square. BC square, because B square plus C square is equal to BC square. BX square plus CX square becomes BC square. AB square plus BC square plus 2AB into BX, which in turn becomes AB square plus BC square plus 2AB into BC cos theta, because BX is equal to BC cos theta. Therefore, we get the resultant force R is equal to P1 square plus P2 square plus 2P1 into P2 cos theta. This is how we get this formula. R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Here instead of P1 and P2, we have used P and Q, but here we used P1 and P2. If alpha is the angle made by R with respect to P1, alpha is the angle made by R with respect to P1, then tan alpha is equal to Cx plus AB plus Bx, which is equal to P2 sin theta divided by P1 plus P2 cos theta, or alpha is equal to tan inverse of P2 sin theta plus P1 plus P2 cos theta. In special cases, if theta is equal to 0, That is when the forces act along the same line, R is equal to P plus Q, which is R is equal to P1 plus P2. If theta is 90 degree, that is when the forces act at a right angle, then R is equal to root of P square plus Q square, or R is equal to root of P1 square plus P2 square. If theta is equal to 180 degree, that is when the forces act along the straight line but in opposite direction, then R is equal to P minus Q, or R is equal to P1 minus P2.